Africa. The face and voice of Africa. The story of resurgent and burgeoning Africa is here, only on the Pulse of Africa channel. Pulse of Africa, the face and voice of Africa.
Hello and welcome. I'm Edo Masai and you are watching Pulse of Africa News, live from Addis Ababa, the political capital of Africa. We've got a packed lineup of top stories shaping the continent today. We start with Nile's vast potential. Ethiopia's Minister of Water and Energy, Habtamu Ittafa, said the Nile has immense potential to connect countries and strengthen regional cooperation. The Nile Basin Cooperation Day was celebrated in Juba, South Sudan, under the theme Voice of the Nile: Community, Youth and Women Engagement in Water Governance. In his message at the event, Habtamu stressed that ensuring sustainable security in the Nile Basin requires inclusive and sustainable water resource management by empowering communities, particularly women and youth. He noted that the Nile's hydropower potential can enhance regional integration, including trade linkages. He also highlighted the basin's vast irrigation potential as crucial for achieving food sovereignty, emphasizing the need for joint investment in the basin. Such cooperation, he said, would help build resilience against recurring droughts and floods in the region.
Cooperation is not an option. It is a must. Forever. When we mark this day, it is important to celebrate how far we have come. At the same time, it is also a day to commit agreement CFA. CFA is our legal document that has replaced the colonial treaty. If we accept the CFA, it will be possible to erode the foundations of the gains we have made so far. There is still remaining tasks at hand. As CFA ratifying states, it is a work that will govern our basin.
He further explained that reducing agriculture's dependence on rainfall amid growing climate change pressures would help ensure sustainable development. Habtamu reiterated that the Nile holds enormous capacity to strengthen regional cooperation and called for consolidating and sustaining the collaboration already underway. He stated that the Nile Basin Initiative is delivering results under its cooperative framework, citing the operationalization of the Nile Basin Commission as an example. He also underscored that the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam plays a significant role in regional integration. Additionally, he pointed out that Green Legacy Initiative being implemented under the leadership of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed is helping conserve the basin's resources. He noted that over 48 billion seedlings have been planted under the program, of which 18.7 billion were planted in the Abai or Blue Nile Basin, representing about 40%, demonstrating Ethiopia's commitment not only to utilizing the Nile's waters, but also to conserving them.
The way we utilize and manage our shared water resources by bringing our communities from darkness to better life. The youth, women are among clean energy. Further, this effort is complemented by the Green Legacy Initiative of His Excellency Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Dr. Abiy Ahmed, to Nile, to Barrow. The number of histories are around 19 billion. If we take excludes the land parcel, we are allocating for that.
The Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has welcomed the outcomes of the 39th ordinary session of the Assembly of the African Union, describing the decisions adopted by heads of state and governments as a defining moment for Africa's health, security, and sovereignty. In a statement issued following the summit held from 11th to 15th February 2026 in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Africa CDC said the Assembly's endorsement of the Africa Health, Security and Sovereignty (AHSS) agenda marks a strategic shift toward long-term resilience, self-reliance in sustainable health systems across the continent. The agency noted that the AHSS agenda replaces the new public health order and provides a comprehensive framework built on strengthening pandemic prevention and preparedness systems, expanding domestic and innovative health financing, accelerating digital transformation and data sovereignty, reforming global health governance, and promoting local manufacturing of medical products. Africa CDC welcomed the Assembly's support for scaling up predictable financing for health, including capitalization of the African Epidemics Fund, and commended voluntary contributions from member states. The agency said these measures will enhance Africa's capacity to respond swiftly and independently to disease outbreaks and public health emergencies. The statement also highlighted key leadership appointments, including Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu Hassan as AU champion for maternal and child health, and Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed Ali as AU champion for artificial intelligence and digital health. Africa CDC further welcomed the Assembly's endorsement of initiatives to strengthen pooled procurement mechanisms and local manufacturing in collaboration with the African Medicines Agency to improve equitable access to vaccines, diagnostics, and therapeutics. The agency expressed appreciation for the Assembly's recognition of its management of the Mpox outbreak and the lifting of its public health emergency of continental security designation in January 2026, noting that strengthened surveillance laboratories networks and emergency coordination systems were central to the response. Africa CDC reaffirmed its commitment to working with member states, AU institutions, and global partners to implement the Assembly's decisions and advance Africa's collective health security, sovereignty, and sustainable development goals.
If you don't tell your story, it will be told by others. They'll talk of hunger, they'll talk of war, they'll talk of conflict, but they'll not say the things that are happening in Africa that are positive.
This is POA, a very new media organization in Ethiopia.
We have to be voice for ourselves. There is no one else that can tell our story better than us.
If it's defending African matters, then go for it. Go for Pulse Media.
This is the Pulse of Africa. Tune in, follow the journey, and learn about the news and what's shaping our African continent.
I am really impressed by the work that they're doing by telling the African story from Africa for Africans. I think it's definitely needed.
Please subscribe to the Pulse of Africa on all platforms.
In other news, Kenya is seeking to mobilize an estimated $350 million over the next decade to restore ecosystems and improve livelihoods in the Lake Victoria Basin under a new long-term program. Speaking at a strategic meeting in Nairobi, Principal Secretary for Environment and Climate Change Festus K. Ngeno said the multi-sectoral, multi-phase program for ecosystem stabilization and socio-economic development of the Lake Victoria Basin, RMPA, will serve as Kenya's flagship intervention in the region. Forestry Principal Secretary Gitonga Mugambi underscored the need for accountability, interministerial coordination, and strong collaboration between national and county governments to ensure the program delivers tangible benefits to citizens. The initiative follows the earlier Lake Victoria Environmental Management Project, LVEMP First and Second, which ended in 2017, and shifts toward a sustained programmatic investment approach focused on ecosystem restoration, climate resilience, and inclusive economic growth. The RMPA is being developed within a regional framework supported by the World Bank and coordinated through the Lake Victoria Basin Commission. It will be financed through concessional World Bank funding, Government of Kenya contributions, and complementary investments. Ngeno say the National Treasury has earmarked about $100 million in the 2027/28 financial year to support the initial phase, signaling strong government commitment. The program will support watershed restoration, sanitation, fisheries, sustainable agriculture, and green job creation, while addressing pollution, ecosystem degradation, and climate-related challenges in the basin. Zimbabwe's Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Amon Muriera, received credentials from the new country manager of the African Development Bank, AFDB, for Zimbabwe, Yerusalem Fasika. Speaking after presenting her credentials, Fasika reaffirmed the bank's commitment to continue supporting the government and the people of Zimbabwe, particularly through the ongoing arrears, clearance, and debt resolution engagement process. She noted that the bank's assistance will remain firmly aligned with Zimbabwe's National Development Strategy 2 and the AFDB's own strategic frameworks, including its 10-year strategy and 4 cardinal priority areas.
For the African Development Bank, we will continue to support government of Zimbabwe, people of Zimbabwe, under the arrear clearance engagement that has been taking place for some time now. And our support to the country will also be in line with the National Development Strategy 2, as well as the bank's 4 cardinal points. The support that we've been providing to Zimbabwe, including agriculture sector, energy sector, social sector, private sector development, all these sectors are aligned with the bank's development strategy, the bank 10-year strategy, and now we have the 4 cardinal points. Our interventions over the years have been aligned with the bank's priority areas, the African Agenda 2063, and the Sustainable Development Goals.
These priorities guide the bank's investments across the continent and are aimed at fostering inclusive growth and sustainable development. Fasika highlighted that the AFDB's interventions in Zimbabwe span key sectors such as agriculture, energy, social services, and private sector development. She said these areas are central to accelerating economic transformation and improving livelihoods. The bank's support is also aligned with broader continental and global development blueprints, including Agenda 2063 and the Sustainable Development Goals, ensuring that Zimbabwe's development efforts are in sync with Africa's long-term vision and global commitments. Looking ahead, she said the AFDB will continue to back Zimbabwe's reform agenda, particularly economic reforms, while maintaining active engagement on arrears clearance.
We congratulated the government, the Honorable Minister, on meeting the key milestones which enabled the signing of the SMP of the IMF. So our support going forward will support the reform agenda, the economic reform agenda. So we will continue to provide the arrear clearance engagements and also in other key sector interventions. Actually, currently today, we have started to review the completion review or the completion report of our engagement with the government. So that will also give us feedback in how our next strategy or next engagement with the government will be in the next 3 years.
The bank also plans to expand key sector interventions as part of its ongoing partnership with the government. Currently, the FDB is reviewing the completion reports of its previous engagement with Zimbabwe. Moving on to business news, Morocco's tax revenues surged 74% between 2021 and 2025 to reach 291 billion dirhams, the country's tax chief said on Wednesday, citing the figures as evidence that a 5-year fiscal reform plan. Presenting the reform's progress to business leaders at the General Confederation of Moroccan Enterprises (CGEM) recently, Younes Idrissi Kaitouni, head of the General Directorate of the Taxes (DGI), said the rise reflected a broader tax base, stronger compliance, and better enforcement rather than higher tax pressure. The tax to GDP ratio increased from 20.3% to 24.6% over the period. Corporate tax receipts more than doubled to 100.3 billion dirhams. That revenue climbed 58% to 71 billion, and income tax collections rose 47% to 70 billion. The additional revenues strengthened the state's fiscal capacity, he said, noting that between 2021 and 2025, the general budget expanded by over 90 billion dirhams. Public sector wage increases cost 40 billion dirhams, and transfers to local governments rose 10 billion dirhams. Support for companies' cash flow increased by 11 billion dirhams, he said. Key reforms included new corporate tax brackets of 20% and 35%, reduced withholding on dividends, a lower minimum contribution rate, and streamlined rules for mergers and asset transfers. VAT reforms focused on reducing rate distortions, easing refund procedures, and taxing digital services, which generated 6.7 billion dirhams in 2025. Partner and member states of the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, East African Community, and Southern African Development Community have reaffirmed the Tripartite Simplified Trade Regime (TSTR) as a key driver of deeper regional integration. The commitment was underscored during a policy dialogue forum held in Nairobi, which brought together umbrella civil society organizations and business apex bodies from across the tripartite region. The TSTR is designed to simplify and lower the cost of cross-border trade, particularly for small-scale traders, women, and youth, while enhancing coordination among member states. It aligns with broader continental frameworks, including the African Continental Free Trade Area and the African Union's Agenda 2063. Officials emphasized that the success of the TSTR will depend on strong partnerships with non-state actors such as business associations, farmers groups, labor unions, and women and youth organizations. The forum highlighted the role of the tripartite task force in harmonizing trade procedures, reducing non-tariff barriers, improving border coordination, and promoting transparent and inclusive trade systems. Supported technically and financially by the Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa, the TSTR is expected to ease cross-border trading, reduce costs, expand market access, and promote inclusive participation in regional trade once fully implemented. The meeting concluded with targeted recommendations to regional economic communities, member states, and non-state actors to accelerate harmonization, strengthen advocacy, and ensure inclusive governance of the regime. Finally, sport news. World champion South Africa will play 8 test matches at home in the 2026-27 season, Cricket South Africa announced on Monday. South Africa, who beat Australia in the 2023-2025 Test Championship final at Lord's in England last year, did not play a single home test match during the current 2025-26 season, but they will play 3 tests against Australia, 2 against Bangladesh, and 3 against England in the coming season, with all 3 series counting towards the 2025 up to 2027 World Test Championship. South Africa are currently in the third place in the standings after sharing a series 1-1 in Pakistan and beating India 2-0 in India. The tests against Australia will all be at coastal venues, Durban, Gqeberha and Cape Town starting on October 3rd. The Bangladesh series will be played in Johannesburg and Centurion during November, while England will be the visitors over the holiday period of December and January. The England test will be in Johannesburg, Centurion and Cape Town. All three tours will also include 3-match one-day international series, while Bangladesh will also play 3 T20 internationals. England were also due to play a T20 series, but it will be rescheduled because of a clash with the SA20 franchise competition. CSA Chief Executive Flotesi Moseki said the test and one-day series were both particularly important for the South African team. That's all for the hour. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.